You're watching the latest here on Free Press Journal. I'm Afrida Rahman, and today we are going to discuss the issue of Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar's resignation, what led to it, the controversies and the conspiracies that are floating around. With me is senior journalist and co-founder of Satya Hindi, Ashutosh. Thank you, Ashutosh, for joining us and welcome.
Thank you, Afrida.
So, shall we begin by addressing the main question here? Do you believe Mr. Dhankar's resignation is a forced exit?
I think so, and I firmly believe this because nobody resigns because his health has not been good enough. The medical reasons which is given by the vice president is, I think, it's just an excuse behind which not only the government but even Dhankar also wants to hide. The fact of the matter is, he was holding number 2 position in the country, that is constitutionally number 2. It is after president, the vice president in the order of precedence. Now, throughout the day, he was holding the parliament. He was having all kinds of letting all kinds of discussion happen in the Rajya Sabha, and suddenly you are told that he was not well, and on the medical grounds he wants to resign. The fact of the matter is, medical grounds, if he wanted to resign, then he must have known much earlier before the parliament session began. Why on the first day of the parliament? He would have gone gracefully, would have said on Saturday or the Friday in the last week and said that, look, I'm thankful to the Prime Minister, thankful to the BJP for making me the Vice President. But I don't think that I should continue because I'm not medically very comfortable. That would have been the graceful exit. And look at the way the BJP has reacted. Not a single cabinet minister, not a single minister, not a single BJP office bearer has gone and asked his well-being. Somebody who's resigning on the medical ground, and the Prime Minister has just written on the post, has written on the X 3 very terse lines. Whereas if you compare his good wishes, he has sent to Devendra Fadnavis and others, where he has praised him, but with Dhankar, hardly anything. So
yes,
that speaks a volume about that there's something wrong has gone, terribly wrong has gone, and nobody is willing to explain why.
The 3 terse lines, I'm just for the benefit of our viewers going to read it out since you mentioned the Prime Minister's tweet. He says, Shri Jagdeep Dhankar ji has had many opportunities to serve our country in various capacities, including as Vice President of India, wishing him good health. So this is the tweet. Anyway, so I want to then come to, the argument that you're making here is that if you go by the events of the day, the way he was active during the day, it was business as usual. There's nothing to indicate that this could be a man who will resign at the end of the day in this manner. So then what exactly you think went behind the doors? I am not going to, bring up all the different conspiracy theories, but I want to simply know from you what happened behind doors that the man was.
I wish I had that information, that what exactly has gone wrong. What I could gather, because I'm privy to certain confidential information much before the resignation of Mr. Dhankhar. 4 or 5 days back, the last week, I was sitting with somebody else, and then he mentioned, or she mentioned, I'm deliberately hiding the gender.
Not revealing gender.
He or she deliberately, he or she told me that Mr. Dhankar was feeling very slighted. He has gone to the she has gone to the extent of saying that he was feeling very insulted, and apparently he was scolded very badly. So his ego was badly hurt, and he was so hurt that basically he was literally in tears. So you can understand that what was the reason that he was scolded, or what was the reason that he was given a dressing down. There must have been some sound reasons, because Dhankhar, before becoming the governor of the West Bengal, was almost a non-entity. He had just joined the BJP. Long back in Vishwanath Pratap Singh and when Devi Lal was there, then he was made a minister, deputy minister in the cabinet. Since then, he had gone to many political parties and finally joined BJP, but he was a non-entity. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he was made the governor. And as a governor, he had done such good work for the BJP that everybody was saying that he was the real opposition for the Mamata Banerjee, and almost a very bitter relationship between Mamata Banerjee and Jagdeep Dhankar.
Yes.
And
He
the
had
BJP
second
was so
runnings.
happy with his performance as a governor that he was promoted as a vice president. And even as a vice president, he has the privilege of inviting 2 impeachment motions against him by the opposition. Now, think about it. So the opposition was very critical of him, that he is not only partial, but he has certain biases against the opposition. He doesn't let opposition speak up. Even the leader of the Mallikarjun Kharge's stature was not allowed to speak. And constantly this was the refrain by the opposition leader, including Congress and other opposition. Now the issue is, when somebody was willing to serve the party so well, now the issue is why he was forced to resign, and why he was so upset, and why he felt insulted. What has gone wrong? There are many theories are floating around in the market, but nobody has nobody exactly knows what has happened. So it's really intriguing for me. My theory is that there must have been something wrong with he must have been rubbed on the wrong side out of arrogance or something else, and he was feeling slighted. And this happened not once but many times. And finally he decided that enough is enough. I have my self-respect, so I also to stand up. And when he started to stand up, when he started to assert, that is when the relationship between the government and the Dhankars are totally broken down, and which finally resulted into his resignation. Resignation means the relationship was so bad because the BJP government at the center, led by Narendra Modi, is not used to any kind of defiance and disagreement from their own tent. Forget about the opposition. So somebody who was made a vice president by the BJP itself cannot have so much of assertion that it should start troubling the top two.
Very negative trend, isn't it, Ashutosh? It is an extremely negative, undesirable kind of situation of somebody for high constitutional authority being treated in this manner, going by your version. Because what you're essentially telling us here is that here is a man who was persona non grata for the opposition. And now the same man, one of the conspiracy theorists, since you are not spelling it out, let me spell it out. One of the theory is that he admitted the notice for the removal of Justice Verma. That did not go down well. So you are telling me that if somebody, even at the position of a vice president, do not toe the line of the ruling party, of the political authority, they cannot survive in their jobs. Now, isn't that a very negative, and I would say rather disturbing, conclusion to come to?
I think this Justice Verma thing, in my opinion, may be an alibi. Maybe somebody is giving a spin to the whole issues. If you remember, in the month of December 2024, when the clip is going viral, where Dhankhar was almost scolding Shivraj Singh Chauhan and questioning that what happened to the farmers, the promises made to the farmers, nothing has moved on that, and we should do something like. So that is five months back. So that means that Jagdeep Dhankar as a vice president has started asserting since then, maybe much earlier, which was happening behind the curtain, which was happening in secrecy. Maybe he was told to do certain things and which he was finding it very uncomfortable. Maybe he was finding it very problematic. The issue is that resignation of the vice president of the country, holding the second most important constitutional post in the country, is not an ordinary incident. He would not just admitting an impeachment motion against Justice Verma is not that a sky would fall, unless somebody has developed such a large ego that he could digest that. How could he do something like this without asking me or without taking my permission? So my opinion is very clear that this was going on for a very long time. Media had no idea about it. And finally, it culminated into something, and that triggered maybe one or two incidents triggered, and finally culminated into resignation. See, he had been so defiant. His defiance can be underlined by one single incident on the day he resigned, was when he allowed Mallikarjun Kharge to speak, praised him as a good parliamentarian, as a good politician. And this was the same Dhankar Sahab which had problems with the Mallikarjun Kharge, never allowed to speak him. And Mallikarjun Kharge was very bitter and very critical about it. But he let him speak. And finally, what followed up was the JP Nadda, the leader of the house in Rajya Sabha. He stood up and he said कि मैं जो बोलूंगा वो ऑन रिकॉर्ड जाएगा, आप लोगों का ऑन
हाँ
रिकॉर्ड नहीं
हाँ
जा रहा. That
जी जी
statement shows that BJP government wanted everything which was said by Mallikarjun Kharge should not go on record, but they had gone on record. So he wanted
It was
to
literally like
remind.
heckling the chairman of the house, isn't it? I
Of
mean,
course,
that
of
literally
course.
amounted to you trying to shout the chairman down. And I thought it was a major, in a way, a matter of indecency on the part of the parliamentarian in question who you mentioned. But I want to ask you here that, if given the circumstances and what you said, I'm willing to take your point here that the issue of admitting the motion against Justice Verma could have been the last straw. It could not be. It could be a trigger, you're saying. But you're
Yeah.
saying there were a series of incidents because the way tables turn. I mean, here is a man and that clip has gone viral of how Kalyan Banerjee used to mock him and how the opposition was never allowed to speak. So at one point of time, Mr. Dhankar was very much seemed to be towing the line of the ruling party. He was criticized for it time and again. The same man over a period of time seem to have changed colors. Isn't this a very intriguing case in Indian political history of a
No,
vice
I'm
president?
not intrigued at all. If the BJP had been in the position of the Congress, the opposition, and the Congress was holding the treasury benches, then the BJP would have made the same case, because opposition loves to embarrass the government in power. So if they are getting an opportunity that the chairman of the house and vice president is resigning, then obviously they'll use that as a they'll use that to embarrass the government. So I see from that perspective. The main story is, which people are missing, and I must say this, that most of the media houses, most of the media outlets and the houses, they have been dishonest because they have not been able to dig deep into this, that why a vice president of the country has to resign. This is such a serious issue. This needs deeper introspection, deeper investigation, deeper investigative journalism, and this has to come out. It's not that whatever the government is trying to tell us, we are taking the story as a without any investigation and inquiry. The government is saying that the Justice Verma's incident is the trigger point. No, not like this. And so I think it's a much deeper story. You chose somebody
Are you
who was
saying
willing
it's
to do. Yeah, sorry.
Are you saying it's a much deeper story because it would tantamount to saying that even the president and the vice president of political masters or are answerable to the political authority? Is that why you're saying it's a deeper issue?
I'm only saying is that what happened to the what happened to the dignity of the constitutional post? What happened to that? See, it's not that the vice president and the president they are the best of the human beings. It's not that every
but they
prime
are
minister
apolitical figures, isn't it? They are not supposed to
be.
have political
See, they are supposed to
affiliation.
be.
They are apolitical.
I agree with you. They are supposed to be apolitical, but the issue is the office demands certain dignity. Office demands that the prime minister and others should pay respect the way the post deserves. Because if you are not giving him the respect which the post deserves, then what happened to the other post also? So the constitutional post should be respected. You have every right to criticize. I am as a journalist have every right to criticize, but I can't criticize by using languages which is not dignified language. So my whole argument is, the pictures used to come in the market that how the president and the vice president is bowing down before the prime minister, and he was keeping something like this. It's not good for the Indian democracy. You might see the similar argument was thrown when Mrs. Gandhi was there and the Jal Singh was the president. And the Jal Singh said that agar Mrs. Gandhi kahengi to main jhadu bhi laga dunga. Something like this. The whole world criticized him. He said, you are holding the post of the president. We're not supposed to make a statement like this. You can be thankful to the prime minister. You can be thankful to the Mrs. Gandhi for promoting you as a president. But once you become the president, then you have to behave the way the president should behave. So it's a double. It's a different argument, because Jagdeep Dhankar did not behave the way a vice president should behave. He was behaving like a partisan office bearer of the BJP, and he tried to muzzle the democracy, the whole democratic process. He tried to muzzle the good culture of democracy, good culture of debate and discussion in the parliament. He did not let opposition to put across their viewpoints. He did not let them ask tough questions, which the opposition is supposed to do. So he did not behave like a vice president. And similarly, the government also did not behave with him the way the post demanded. So it's a two-way process.
Yeah.
But the fact
It's
of
a
the matter
two-way
is,
process.
if a vice president has resigned,
Yeah.
then it needs deeper introspection. Why the president was forced to resign?
Yeah.
What
Are
was
you
he
saying,
doing?
Ashutosh, and I'm just asking for a clarification, are you saying that he brought it onto himself by first bending over backwards to please, and then the same people come to dominate you, and then you can't complain? Is that the gist of what you're saying?
Obviously, he has to blame himself. He can't blame others because he was willing to bend beyond a
Yes.
point. He was willing to bend, forgetting that he is holding the post of vice president. And
so when you do such a
when you are
thing,
willing
then
to,
you have to also be prepared to face the consequences.
yes,
Is that
yes,
that
yes.
what you're saying? Okay.
Yes. So it's not that he was some apostle of some great virtues. No, not like that.
Yeah.
But the issue is there was something that he told to himself that beyond a point, I'm not going to insult myself, and that was the breaking point.
Yes, absolutely. On a lighter note, and as the last question, Mamata Banerjee, who was his harshest critic, and there were daggers drawn for a very long time when he was the governor of West Bengal, has now come up to his defense. She's the only one who's come up and said his health is absolutely fine. He's a fine man. He's a healthy man. And it seems that of all people, Mamata is willing to come up to speak up for Mr. Dhankar now.
So that again is a very smart political statement. He's telling to the whole world that, look, Jagdeep Dhankar argument using medical reasons for demitting office is not true. There's something else. And second thing is, I think in politics, whether you are in parliament or outside the parliament, the bitter struggle is always there. Across the table, people use all kinds of languages to criticize each other, but that does not mean that the civil courtesy should not be should not continue. So political differences are different, and personal relations is entirely different. So opposition has every right to be very, very critical of Mr. Dhankar, has every right to evaluate very negatively the way he conducted the house. But when he was demitting the office, when he was resigning the office, then opposition has every right to be civil with him and use some good languages. So personal relations and political relations should not matter. But unfortunately, we are living at a time when personal relationship is spoiling the political relationship is basically spoiling personal relationship. People are losing their friends across the table. You and me are losing our friends because somebody is holding a political opinion and is not willing to understand that the political opinion and the personal opinion, these are two different things. So don't mix.
Yes.
I'm greatly friends with many of my RSS guys. On television, we fight with each other, we quarrel with each other, we use harsh words against each other. But in personal life, we are good friends. We don't talk about it. So I think something like that has to be done, has to be understood.
Some civility is always maintained. But the larger point you made, Ashutosh, and I'll leave our viewers with that thought, it's the office of the vice president, the second highest constitutional position in this country, which has been in a way demeaned with this entire process which you explained, how somebody of his stature had to step down in this manner, because clearly, and I think there's very little doubt now that the reason was much more than health reasons. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashutosh. Pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.